In this video, I'm going to show you some quick tips and tricks that will help you get your X-Plane 11 running smoothly and without stutters or glitches. There are some easy, quick fixes in this video that you can try right away. Hey guys, this is Dan here from VR Flight World. If you're new to me in this channel, we talk about everything from VR flight to flight sim, so make sure that you hit the subscribe button and bell notification if you haven't done so already. So most of the time, removing stutters and glitches comes down to a few different things. Tweaking the settings of X-Plane 11, upgrading or changing the hardware settings, or even adding or removing select plugins. So some of the fixes will focus on reducing the load on the computer. Now these tips that I'm going to show you are being used by me every day. This allows me to run my flight sim at over 45 frames per second using Orbx True Earth scenery in virtual reality without constant micro stutters or glitches. And at the end of this video, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to give you some of my best tips. These are the tips that have had the biggest impact on my sim. Okay, so number one, remove reflections. The first and easiest thing you can do to improve your sim is to remove any reflections from your X-Plane 11 settings. The reflections appear to have very minimal impact on visuals and have a very major impact on your sim. Removing these can give you an immediate boost in performance. Now number two, drop all your settings. How does your sim run with all the settings down to an absolute minimum? If you're still getting stutters or glitches, then maybe something else is causing the problem. This could be a great test to give you a baseline. Number three, install VMI TWICK. VMI TWICK is a great plugin that allows you to take control of the fine details in the sim. This plugin is fairly involved, so you may or may not want to try it. You can tweak the distance of the objects and weather. It allows you to do a lot, so this may be something you want to play with. Number four, remove plugins. If you have installed many plugins in the past, it may be time to do some spring cleanup. You may have a plugin in X-Plane 11 that is causing you problems. Maybe the plugin hasn't been updated with X-Plane 11, or it is not well optimized. But if you're having problems or stutters, this is definitely an area you want to look at. Now number five, remove AI aircraft. I've had some problems with AI aircraft in the past with things conflicting. However, AI aircraft also use a lot of CPU power. So if you're trying to make things run smooth, you may want to remove all aircraft until things are nice and stable. Then you can add them back in later. Number six, take a flight at a small airport. This is similar to removing objects, but maybe you're running some aftermarket scenery. It is worth trying to fly at another small airport that has default scenery. This might allow you to see if maybe your scenery is the problem. It should also allow you to take some of the work off your computer, as the airports tend to be one of the most demanding parts of a flight sim. So number seven, run X-Plane 11 without beta. If you are like me, then you most likely run X-Plane 11 with the beta turned on. This is usually great because you are receiving the latest and greatest updates from Laminar Research. However, this is a guaranteed way to get a problem. The beta version is a testing version, so you may have problems, which is completely expected. Without beta, you should have a stable and tested version to play. So maybe try turning it off and see how your sim runs at that point. Number eight, change the computer power settings. So this is an easy little tip that you can do. You can go into your computer settings under control panel and click hardware and sound and click power options. There you can change the power settings to high performance, just for a little boost in power. Number nine, consider disabling virus protection. Now this comes at your own risk for obvious reasons. A virus protector can cause a computer to run much too hard, taking all the resources from your sim. So try disabling the virus protector, or even better, ensure that it's not running while your flight sim, or it's not doing a scan while you're doing your flight sim. Number 10, clear out some space on your hard drive. Most games and sims these days take a lot of hard drive space. Take a look at how close you are to a full hard drive and remove some clutter if you can. Make sure that you have a bit of extra space in your hard drive. A full or close to full hard drive will cause your computer to run harder for no good reason. Number 11, upgrade your computer. Upgrade some of your hardware. There are some really obvious places to upgrade, like the CPU and GPU. However, another upgrade that you can do that is a little cheaper is to upgrade your RAM. This is usually fairly inexpensive upgrade compared to the other two. Upgrading the CPU and GPU will have a massive impact on your performance. However, it can come at a very high price. Also, before you do any of the upgrades, make sure that you can upgrade your computer. Some computers can't be upgraded. Number 12, set up your VR headset. Go through the setup process of your VR headset to ensure that it is tracking properly. Usually a VR headset will come with its own software, and you could run through that and make sure that everything is set up properly. Also, each headset will come with a different type of tracking, so make sure that your cameras are set up properly in the right places, but usually the software will help you set that up. Number 13, check the task manager. To check the task manager, hit Ctrl-Alt-Delete and select Task Manager. In here, you will see all the processes running on your computer. Look for anything that is using up a lot of CPU power. Word of warning, don't just close out a process. If you have a problem, locate that program later and close it out. Number 14, monitor your computer with AFTERBURNER. I use AFTERBURNER to monitor my status of my computer. Within the program, you can monitor the CPU and the GPU usage. You can also monitor the temperature of the CPU and the GPU. This is very important to watch because if your usage is at 100% or your temperature goes too high, your system will not run great. Alright, now we're to the good stuff. Let's look at some of my favorite tips. So number 15, try X-Plane 11 Beta with VULKAN. If you remember how I said to try without beta, well, in this tip I am saying the opposite. The reason is because X-Plane 11 recently released X-Plane Beta with VULKAN. VULKAN can make a huge difference in how your computer handles X-Plane 11. So I would suggest that you try it at least. It has allowed me to increase my X-Plane 11 graphics settings. It also allows my sim to run much better. So this is my favorite tip, number 16. Test your computer with software. Out of all my tips, this one has had the biggest impact on my computer. I have been frustrated with crashes, glitches, and constant stutters in the past. There's been times when my sim seems to be running great and all of a sudden things are freezing and stuttering. Now this tip doesn't completely fix it, however it may help you diagnose your problem. So I would do this whether or not you have an overclocked computer. Try running an overclock test like OCCT. So what OCCT does is it'll run your CPU at 100%. During this test you want to watch your computer's temperature. However, as it runs, you should start to see some errors come up if there's a problem. If you get any errors, then you know your computer is not running properly. My computer was spitting out tons of errors. I ended up having to lower my overclock a bit and raise the voltage until I had a very stable and error-free computer. After doing this, I have an extremely smooth experience in X-Plane 11. Now, not everyone's going to be able to do this with overclocking, and maybe you don't have the knowledge to do the overclock, but it's still nice to know if you're getting those errors when you're running at 100%. Just watch that temperature, and I stress that because if your temperature does rise up too much, you could damage your computer. This brings me to tip number 16, overclock your CPU and GPU. This is one that you must be careful of because overclocking is essentially pushing your computer past the manufacturer's specifications. You can permanently damage your CPU and GPU if done wrong. YouTube is full of experts in overclocking that can guide you through the process, but make sure that you do the test as indicated above, because with a poor overclock comes poor, inconsistent performance. Number 17, reduce your visual effects. Here's another tip that has made a big impact. I have found a big difference between visual effects high and maximum. I would recommend setting visual effects to high HDR in order to get the best looking sim for the best performance. This is a really easy fix and I believe it has a big impact on your performance. Number 18, OVR settings. If you have the Oculus Rift or Oculus Rift S, then you need to try another plugin. This is the OVR settings. This plugin is great because you can not only super sample your Oculus Rift, but you can lock the frame rate. You can even lock the frame rate at 30 frames per second if you want. This will allow you to get a smooth experience at a lower frame rate. Yes, most people would say that this is too low for VR, however, this is still better than an inconsistent stutter. So if you want to dive deep into improving your settings in X-Plane 11, then check out the video on the right side of the screen, and I will see you in the next video.